Not every day we have an ambassador pop in, but we have the Israeli ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Leiter. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be with you, Glenn.
Yeah, you have it easy compared to your predecessor dealing with President Trump over President Biden. So you must be breathing a little easier. How are things in Israel?
Well, I just got here. I got 5 weeks ago. Just landed.
I know.
I was actually the first ambassador to present his credentials to President Trump.
Really?
Yeah. And as my prime minister, Netanyahu was the first foreign leader to visit the White House. So we're feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah. So let me go back to the speech that President Biden gave, because he said something in his speech with Benjamin Netanyahu, or his answering question and answer session, that even the prime minister couldn't have said, saying the Palestinians, they got to go someplace else. He couldn't have said, nobody could have said that. Donald Trump just comes out and says it, and we're going to build a beautiful resort. What do you think he was doing?
Well, frankly, Glenn, I didn't hear the president say that he's going to force the Arabs of Gaza out.
No, he didn't say that. No, he didn't say that.
I think what the president is saying is, let's give people a choice. I mean, these people have been kept in Gaza. Egypt refused to open the gates. Nobody brought ships to the coast to offer them safe passage anywhere. Why don't we just open up Gaza and say, look, if you'd like to leave, you have that option to do so. Many have left, tens of thousands have left, by paying an exorbitant amount of money to the border crossing in Rafah. We don't need to do that. Just let's say, open the gates, let the people out, let's destroy Hamas. And by the way, if they choose to leave, like Arafat left Beirut in 1982, by boat to some country that wants to absorb them. I don't think anybody wants to take the Hamas. I think they want to take the Gazans. Yeah. Many people will take Gazans. They're an industrial bunch of people, and they'll be very, very helpful to any country that absorbs them, but not Hamas. Nobody's going to take them. But if they're going to leave, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to have to destroy Hamas.
So I saw, well, you're going to have to do it anyway. When I was watching him, I thought, nobody's going to be talking about that part tomorrow. They're all going to be talking about building a big, beautiful city. And the Arab nations are going to say immediately, well, no, America's not doing that. We'll have to do that. Do you think part of his strategy was to get everybody kind of back to the table where they were with the Abrahamic Accords and everybody kind of working together for some peace with Israel?
Glenn, I think your question is straight on. It's very perceptive. There's been a narrative for the past, really, since Israel was created, that if Israel doesn't give up land and we don't withdraw, there can't be peace. And yet every time we've withdrawn, we've only gotten war. And everybody's gotten in the habit of kind of, using Israel as the whipping boy. Israel's not doing enough. Israel's doing too much. And what the president has done is just taken everything out of the bag, and he said, look, in the Abraham Accords, Israel wasn't demanded to withdraw, to give up land. How much territory do we have, by the way? I mean, we're the size of New Jersey, except New Jersey's a hamburger. We're a hot dog. It's very easy to cut it in half. Right. We're a tiny little country. By the way, we're here in Texas. Israel fits into Texas 31 times. Okay.
Darn right.
We don't have. We don't
Sorry,
have. I'll never forget when Prime Minister Ariel Sharon took Bush 41 in a helicopter ride over all of Israel. And when they got out of the helicopter, President Bush said, yeah, that's about the size of my ranch in Texas, right? That's all the state of Israel. So we don't have too much territory. Right. And it also doesn't work. But the Abraham Accords the magic of the Abraham Accords is, recognize Israel unconditionally. Let's just be friends. Let's just live together. And that's where we have to go now. Saudi Arabia is ready. Okay, other Arab countries, other Muslim countries are ready. Could you imagine if we have peace tomorrow with Indonesia, 300 million Muslims? And, it's going to be better for them. It's going to be better for us. It's going to be better for the region, for the world.
So what do you think of this? Because everybody was freaking out about what happened in the White House Friday, which, by the way Joe Biden treated Benjamin Netanyahu, making him wait for hours, and then just treating him like garbage, and then having the Democrats walk out. I mean, please don't talk to me about how President Trump treated Zelensky. He treated him like a king until things were turned around. But what Trump is doing is he is thinking on almost all fronts out of the box. He's breaking all of the calcium that's on all of our thinking. He's just breaking that all off, and thinking in new ways, and talking about peace in a different way. That if you'd get out of yourself or your old think, you would see there's a real chance this works. But he's realigning everything.
He's realigning everything. You know, for a while now, the world has been in search of a new international paradigm. You know, international relations works on the basis of a paradigm. So the first half of the 20th century, we had a multilateral, a multipolar paradigm. It didn't work. It ended up in 2 world wars. The second half of the 20th century, we had a bipolar world. It was a Cold War. It was on the brink of nuclear warfare and extinction. Then we had a unipolar moment and a unipolar world, but which, you know, the United States is stepping back from, because we don't want to lead everywhere in the world and take responsibility for the globe anymore. So the world is in need of a new global paradigm, and I believe President Trump is establishing that global paradigm. And it may not have a very simple name like multipolar, bipolar, unipolar. It may be Trumpian polar, I don't know, but it's going to be less polar. In other words, if it's not mutually assured destruction, but mutually assured construction. Mutually assured construction, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can benefit from this approach to foreign relations. We certainly want to be part of that. I think we're the best ally the United States has. We've never asked you for boots on the ground, okay? We fight the enemies, the common enemies that we have, particularly Iran.
Yeah, kind of scary. J.D. Vance, our vice president, said when he was speaking about a year ago, he said, the Islamic country that you should be worried about with nuclear missiles will someday soon maybe be the UK. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to comment on that, but, Europe, I think you guys could maybe show them the history of Israel. Europe is appeasing an awful lot of stuff right now, and the people are starting to feel like we're losing our country and our place, and it's becoming very, very Sharia law in some places. Yeah,
well, you bring up a fascinating point, and I'm going to say something very undiplomatic, even though I'm in the world of diplomacy. This all boils down to the fact that of the 36 countries in the developed world, the OECD, there's only one country in the world with replacement fertility. We're having kids in Israel.
Wow.
We're preparing the next generation. One country of the developed nations that have replacement fertility. That's the state of Israel. That's 3 generations after a Holocaust. Talk about miracles.
Yeah.
So, the West has to believe in itself again. And part of believing in itself and being happy with its existence and believing in the ideals that created the Judeo-Christian culture needs to be to celebrate a revival.
Right. And I don't think we did, and I don't think Joe Biden believed in that. And based on their reaction to J.D. Vance over in Germany, I'm not sure that Europe actually believes in itself. Jason Buttrill is with us. He's our chief researcher, watches over foreign affairs as well. You have something for the ambassador before he has to leave?
Yeah, Ambassador, I was in Israel for the October 7th anniversary, and the flood of emotions throughout the entire country. I can't imagine what the country, I just can't, what everyone's going through. How do you balance getting hostages back versus releasing, tons more Hamas hostages? How do you even balance that? And can you put someone like me at ease that just wants all these Hamas terrorists dead? Like, what's going to happen to them once they go out? Are they just going to reestablish back in Gaza? Are they going to go somewhere else and still threaten Israel? I mean, how do you get hostages back but still deal with the Hamas terrorists that are still getting out there?
Like you, Jason, I want my mind to be at ease. It's been a very traumatic year for me personally. I lost my oldest son, who led the forces into Gaza and was killed the second week of the war when he entered a Hamas booby trap together with his command team. He had spent 15 years in special ops, and he went to med school, and he was supposed to start his rounds in the hospital on October 8th. So it's a traumatic year for many. We lost 1,200 people on October 7th. Another 850 soldiers have been killed in this war. That's over 2,000 people. By United States statistics, that would be about 65, 70,000 people killed. Imagine, in a year and a half. So we also had tens of thousands of people removed from their homes, living in temporary quarters because of the missiles fired from Hezbollah, from the Houthis, in the Gaza envelope. It's been a traumatic year, but I can tell you this. The people of Israel are resilient. Our soldiers are very brave and courageous. And the fight goes on. I can't guarantee you that we're going to release all the hostages, but we're going to do our damnedest to do so and get them out alive. We have still, they're holding on to bodies. I mean, you're talking about a cruel and brutal, ghoulish group of people.
Can I ask, did they ever get, I think it was the mother of the Bibas children, did they ever get her body back? I know they delivered a coffin.
They deliberately delivered a coffin with someone else's body. By the way, the locks that they put on the caskets, they provide keys that don't open the locks, just to stick it in our eye a little further. We received the body, but you know how they were killed, Glenn. They were murdered by strangulation, and then a effacement of the bodies, in order to be able to try. And this was verified by autopsies. So we're dealing with a horrific group of people, and we're going to make sure that they are not standing in Gaza any longer. It's going to be a difficult, long process, but we're going to come out on top in the end.
You will, because you're not ashamed of who you are, nor should you be, nor should we. And we support you.
Thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you. Just let me conclude with this one sentence.
Yeah.
My son taught his soldiers when they go into battle. He said, always remember where you are, where your friends are, and where the enemy is. And I learned from my son that we always have to wake up in the morning and say, who am I? Who are my friends? And who is my enemy? And don't confuse those three categories.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.